Hey guys, this is Reverend Sean of The Centered Path, and today I'm going to show you a couple tricks to make your meditation practice even better. So hey guys, we're going to start right into this, and there's a couple things, there's actual tools. Now, traditional meditation is done in the Mahasatipatthana and the Buddhist texts and things like that, the Samatha and Vipassana, are very, very coordinated. Zazen too. These are very coordinated, very practiced. It's very good to get into those. But if you can't, for some reason, there are a couple tricks that you can use. Now, these days, there's a lot of other inputs than we had 1,000 years ago. For example, there's iPods and phones and iPads and cell phones and video games and all this kind of other stuff, all this outside chatter. We live in much more congested areas. It's harder to find a place to meditate. Like in the Satipatthana Sutra, it talks about finding an abandoned building, a cave, or under a tree. Now, these are kind of difficult to do. And there's a couple of things that have come up with people who try to meditate as they're on higher floors in a building. They don't feel grounded. They feel much more grounded to the earth's energy and to other energies when they're on the ground. And that is very important. I'm going to teach you one of those things as well. So we're going to go over 3 things today. Number 1 is get yourself one of these. This is a very special, very hard to find stone. This is basalt. Okay, it's a good absorber of your energy. It warms up very nicely. This one fits nicely into my hand, so I can actually put it in my palm when I meditate, and I can use it as an anchoring point. Now, anchoring is very important when it comes to meditation. Generally, we're looking for the object of meditation, which is your anchor. Okay, your anchor is either your breath, a candle, something like that. Now, if you're very tactile or a very kinesthetic kind of person, you can use a stone. It doesn't have to be any kind of special stone, it just has to fit nicely in your hand and be one that you only touch when you're doing meditation. Now, this is why it becomes an anchor. I had a patient who came in, or actually I work as a chiropractor and acupuncturist too. We were talking about his transcendental meditation, which he had done for like 31 years, which is amazing because in TM, you get your own vibrational sound as your mantra. And he stopped meditating a few months before I had met him because he was only stressing out. He was getting more and more stressed. And the reason he was getting more stressed is because he only did his meditation when he was stressed out. So this is important to know. When he was stressed, he would start associating his mantra and his time alone with stress, and then he just get more and more stressed about it. So that's what we have to start doing. Our practice doesn't happen when we're in the middle of it. You don't start to practice fighting in a fight, or you don't start practice of tennis in a tennis match. There's time for practice and there's time for actually work. And so what we want to do is we have to have more controlled situations when we're doing our meditations or we're doing our practicing, right? So this is just one little anchor that we can use. Now the second thing is when you're on a second or third or fourth or 50th floor or whatever, sometimes it's hard to feel grounded. You may not feel like you're really on the ground. You don't feel connected. And that's a neat feeling. That means that your brain and your mind is starting to really connect with the earth, the world, if you will, and that's a really neat place to be. It's amazing when you can feel that kind of stuff. If you can sit directly on the ground, it's a much different feeling. You get a much deeper meditation. If you're near grass or something or a tree, it's a way more deep meditation, and that's important to be in or close to nature when you can. Now, if you can't, you live in an apartment building, you're way up high, there's going to be other noises and things like that. Some people use guided imagery or music, which is okay, but I want to do something a little different. Now, when you're sitting in meditation, sit in the position that you have chosen. Now, whether that's the Burmese style or Zazen or half lotus, quarter lotus, 3/4 lotus, whatever, full lotus, I don't care what you do. But whatever kind of meditation you're doing, find one that you can sit in. Okay, now this is going to kind of relate back to the hindrances of meditation too. So you find your position and you center yourself in your breath or on your stone, okay? And then when you've done that, you go ahead and you try to feel the earth, the ground beneath you, whether it's a rug, a carpet, or the floor, concrete, wood, whatever it is. And imagine your sense as you, if you've driven a car ever, for a while anyway, you notice that when the wheel wobbles, you'd feel it in the steering wheel, and you kind of know where it's coming from because you have expanded your senses through that vehicle. Now, it's a very complex thing. There's a lot of bolts and plastic pieces and metal pieces and all kinds of stuff that you have to like feel through to feel the vibrations, and you can understand where they're at. Same thing as when you're trying to pick up a box, you don't know how heavy it is. You can touch it with your foot, and your brain will automatically sense the mass of that object. And try it out if you want. It's kind of a neat phenomenon. But what you want to do is sense the floor beneath you, and then work your way out slowly as you're breathing to the walls. Now you can really kind of sense where the walls are. You have to use a lot of imagination of this, and that's perfectly fine. Then work your way down the walls, down further as we go. And imagine there's sometimes wood or metal studs in there, and there's wiring, and there's piping, and there's all this kind of stuff, and go around that and go all the way down into the foundation. Once you get into the foundation, you start getting into the earth, and then you're going to start bleeding off all of that energy, that negative energy, and feel way more grounded, and that'll give you a sense of being stable like a mountain. It's important to do when you're meditating. You want to feel really stable, right? And so that's number 2 of the 3 things. And number 3 is, I'll show you in just a second. Number 3 is we're going to go back to the breath. It's important to go straight back to the breath. And what you need to do is, as you're watching your breath, okay, you're being passive, you're kind of letting it be. Long breaths are long, short breaths are short, deep breaths are deep. Those kind of things. As we're working our way through that, what we want to do is really over-accentuate the breathing. Feel it from the bottom, from where it's called the hara, the tantian, down below the belly button. Fill that up first. When you pour water into I'm going to find a cup here, but anyway, when you pour water into a cup, it fills from the bottom up, right? So what you want to do is, when you breathe from the bottom first. Fill up that bottom section. Imagine there's 3 sections. I do like 3 or 4. Lower below the belly button to the solar plexus to the chest. Okay, the mid-chest, and then mid-chest up. So it's like kind of 4 areas for me. I'll breathe in, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. Hold for a moment. Really feel that stillness. And then push it out from here. 1, and then the second area, then the third area, and then the fourth. So remember, it's like belly button to the bottom. That's section 1. Fill that up first as you breathe in. Section 2, belly button up to the solar plexus. That's just the belly. Fill that up too. You kind of feel like a stretching sensation. Then fill the sides of the chest, underneath the pec muscles, for example, or under where your bra strap would be, I guess. And so you'd fill that area, and then you'd fill everything on the top. And that one I really pull open and get some movement in there. Now it's a little dynamic. You can actually over-exaggerate the movement, and that's good because that can help you settle in your body. And then do that 4 or 5 times. This works really good if you have insomnia, by the way. If you can't, you've taken Sudafed or something like that, and you can't sleep, and you're wide awake, and for no reason, your brain won't do anything productive, and you're just kind of like up for no reason. You're not worried about stuff. You're just up. Do these breathing techniques, and then you can also do the body scan, which we'll go over later. But we'll do these 3 techniques. Get yourself a stone, right? The second one was imagine yourself grounded from where you're at, out to the walls, down and through the building, into the ground and out. Okay, like you'll ground all that energy. It's a really good way to do it. Now, this totally isn't like typical traditional Buddhism, but it's stuff that I've learned along the way with meditation. I've been doing meditation for like 30 years, 35 years. And there's a lot of techniques that I've had to use and had to play with to get it better for me. So get it better for you. And don't forget to subscribe at the bottom right down here. And then give us a thumbs up. Give us a comment. Tell me what you've done that will and has helped your meditations, because that's kind of important. One of the things we're going to do is each one of these little mini segments, we're going to go over meditation processes. We'll go over the Mahasatipatthana in detail, but we'll also, it's like 42 different types of meditations. You can try them all if you want to. You don't have to. There's specific ones that will work for you. There's ones that work for me that won't work for you, and vice versa. But we need to experience some of the basics, okay? And get into some of the ways that those work. Now, Give us a comment, subscribe at the bottom, and don't forget to go on the website, the centeredpath.org, and look up the downloads. It's like it's up in the right hand corner or something like that. There's a download section where you can download the cheat sheet for the class that I've been running, which is Basics of Buddhism. It just basically gives you like an idea to get into it so that you can have better questions and go from there. So anyway, this is Reverend Sean over at the Center Path, and I hope you guys are doing well. And I don't know, be well. Sit, man. Breathe. It's good. We'll go over some guided meditations later, okay? Take care.